How to grow kale. Today we're going to talk about how to grow kale, and as you can see by this specimen here, kale comes in a multitude of varieties of colors, shapes, and sizes. This happens to be the Red Russian variety, but there are many more to choose from. Kale is ideally grown in zones 7 to 9, but here in St. Petersburg we're in 10A, a little hotter than zone 9, and as you can see, we're having no problem growing kale. Kale is a versatile plant and can be grown equally as well in ground and raised garden beds or even in containers. It also can do just as well in full sun or partial shade. You will want to watch your plants in the partial shade as they may be slower growing and smaller in growth, but that's okay because they'll still be delicious. I've selected this area in our raised garden bed to plant a new batch of kale, but first I need to remove this plant. You may be curious what this is. This is sun hemp, and this is a nitrogen fixer. It's part of the legume family, but as you can tell, it is stunning the growth of my beets that I have planted next to it. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all that. I want to make sure that I save all these plants and add them to my compost, as these legume plants are really going to add some nitrogen back into my compost. In fact, I have another video that's coming up soon that I'm going to use these very plants in, so make sure to stay tuned. Kale is going to thrive in well-draining, nutrient-rich soil. So if I amend my soil before even starting my seeds, I won't have to worry about fertilizing later on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push aside the leaf mulch and add some mature compost with a mixture of perlite directly to the surface. All right, so I have raked away just roughly with my fingers the leaf mulch here, and I'm going to go ahead and add my compost and perlite mixture. All right, so now this area is ready to plant. Since I have the Red Russian planted in the other zone, I'm going to pick a new one. I think the dwarf blue will be cool for this area. All right, so you can see that I already have a drip line installed, and this is going to be important because I want to keep the soil moist. It is equally important to have well-draining soil, but also moist soil. Ideally, I want to water these 1 to 1.5 inches of water per week, so my drip line is really going to help with that. Kale is a cold hardy plant, so ideally you want to start these in early spring or fall, so that way you can grow them at the coldest times of the year. I am kind of late to the game here in Florida, but I know in this particular area they should do fine. One of the things you want to keep in mind is the spacing on these. Here's what the seeds look like. They're very tiny, and you only need to plant them a ½ inch deep. So I'm just going to lightly scatter them in this little trough that I made with my finger, and then I'm going to lightly spread the dirt on top of them. And then on top of that, I'm going to reapply a light layer of leaf mulch. This leaf mulch is really going to help retain the moisture so that way my seedlings won't dry out. This is really important for any type of plant that you start from seed, as seedlings can stress easily. Keeping an even level of moisture will help avoid any additional stress. These particular seeds should germinate anywhere from 8 to 12 days, but that varies based on different varieties of kale, so make sure to check out your seed packet. Another word on spacing. Once your sproutlings have sprouted, you're going to want to thin them because mature plants such as these can reach anywhere from 1 to 2 feet tall and wide. So a healthy plant is going to take up a lot of room, and you want to make sure that there's plenty of airflow between your plants to avoid insects and disease. When you have a mature plant, you want to scoot the leaves away and look at the base of your plant when it comes to harvest time. If you harvest these leaves from the very bottom, you will get a more bountiful harvest, and you'll have a healthy plant that will continue to grow for you, increasing your harvest. Kale is a really hardy plant, but let's talk about some troubleshooting, shall we? If you find that your young plants are struggling, you can simply cover them with row cover, a really light, breathable material that you can place over the young plants. This will protect them from pests, squirrels, and birds, and allow them to grow to maturity when you can remove the row cover. They're pretty resistant to most pests. However, check the underside of the leaves, as that's where many of the pests are going to show up first. One of the pests that I have had problems with are aphids, and this is a really easy fix. All you need to do is mix up some insecticidal soap and squirt on them with the squirt bottle. So that's it. That's all you need to know to grow this easy plant. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on Plant Life.